Hello, this is Ms. Briscoe here with our math lesson for today. So as you can see, you're going to need these notes printed out. They're just above the video in the lesson today. If you don't already have them printed out, you're going to want to print them out so that you can follow along in our lesson today. So our learning goal is I can solve and check division problems. So we're going to be dividing through the thousands using a one-digit divisor, and then we're going to learn how can we check to make sure that our answer is correct. And the first thing you'll see here below our learning goal is we have some vocabulary words: divisor, dividend, quotient, and remainder. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a diagram of a problem just so we can point all of those out. And I want you to go ahead and do that as well. So the 5 here is our divisor. The divisor is the number that you divide by in a division problem. The dividend is the number that is being divided. And then your quotient is the answer to a division problem. Now sometimes in a division problem you'll have some numbers left over. Now in this one there's no numbers, but we're just going to say it's remainder 2. That's what a remainder would be. It's the amount left over that cannot be divided. This one is not really the remainder in this problem, but that's where you would see it in a division problem. It would be next to the quotient, and you would have just an R next to it so that people know what the remainder is and that it's part of the quotient. So today we're going to go through the steps of how to solve a division problem and how to check it. And so I have two different problems here that we are going to do. The first one is 2,754 divided by 9. So you want to go ahead and set up your problem like this. Okay, and the first step is you divide the thousands place. Now 9 cannot go into 2, so that means that I need to look at my thousands and my hundreds place, because step 2 would be move on to the hundreds place. So 9 can go into 27 3 times, because I know that 3 times 9 is 27. So you're going to write your answer above the 7 because we're going into 27, not 2. If you were to write it above 2, it'd be incorrect. You want to make sure you write it above the last number that is being divided. So 9 times 3 is 27. Then you subtract. I have 0, so you bring down the 5. Now 9 cannot go into 5. So I'm going to put a 0 there because 9 cannot fit into 5. So 0 times into 5, that's like a placeholder. So I'm going to bring down my 4. 9 can go into 54, and I know that 9 can go into 54 6 times. 9 times 6 is 54, and I'm left with 0. So my answer is 306, and I have no remainders. Now the way that you check this is you do the opposite of division. You multiply. So you're going to take 306 and you're going to multiply it by 9. And that way you're going to check to see if you get the correct answer. So 9 times 6 is 54. I'm going to carry my 5. 9 times 0 is 0 plus 5 is going to be 5. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So if you get the same answer in your multiplication problem that you were dividing, then you correctly divided. So that's how you can check your multiplication problem. So we just multiplied that one. The next one that we are going to multiply is 614 divided by 6. So I'm going to set up my division problem. So 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 times 1 is 6. I'm going to subtract, not 0, bring down my 1. 6 cannot go into 1. So I'm going to write a 0 up here because it cannot go into 1. So 6 times 0 is 0. And then you would subtract. So you're going to bring down your 4. 6 can go into 14 2 times because 6 times 2 equals 12. Subtract. I have 2 left. I have no more numbers to bring down. That means that this 2 is going to be my remainder. So my answer for this is 102 with a remainder up to. All right, guys? So that's how you properly divide. And this is a review probably from 4th grade math, but it's something that can really refresh your memory before we move on to dividing by 2-digit divisors. Now, another thing that you're going to see is you're going to see some unknown number or problem solving. These are algebraic expressions. There is a letter that stands for an amount, and you're not sure what the amount is. So right here, I need to find out what n is. So n equals 7 times 63. Well, this is pretty easy. All you're doing is you're multiplying 63 times 7. And then whatever this equals will equal n. N stands for the answer. It's not a specific number. N can change numbers depending on what problem it is in, but you're trying to multiply this to find this answer. So you're going to do 7 times 3, which is 21. Write my 1s and carry my 2. And then you're going to do 6 times 7, which is 42, plus 2, which is 44. So the answer, 63 times 7, is 441. So that means that n equals 441. And you can circle that. That way people can easily find your answer. Okay? The next one that you see down here is n times 5 equals 235. Well, if we remember that multiplication and division are opposite of each other. So whatever you multiply to get an answer, you can always divide that by one of the factors and it will give you the other factor. So if I need to find out what n is, n times 5 equals 235. So that means if I divide 235 divided by 5, I will find what n is. Because it is the opposite. Division is the opposite of multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and divide. 5 can go into 23 4 times because 5 times 4 equals 20. And then 3 left, bring down my 5. 5 can go into 35 7 times because 5 times 7 is 35. 0 remainder. So in this instance, n equals 47. The way that I can check it is I can say 47 times 5. So let me go ahead and check it to make sure I have the correct answer. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3 equals 23. So my answer is the same. So n equals 47. And then the last kind of algebraic problem that you might see is something that looks like this. Now this is a multi-step problem. There's more than one step to solve this type of problem. So I need to find n. So what it's saying is n equals 752 equals 6 times 125 plus n. So the way that I'm going to break this down is I'm going to pretend like n is not there. And I'm going to multiply 6 times 125. So 125 times 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I have 750. So if I were to mark this out, I could write 750 up here. So that means 750 plus n equals 752. Well, that means that 750 to get to 752 only needs 2 extra numbers, right? 2 extra digits. Because if I take 752 and I were to subtract 750, I just need 2. So that means that n equals 2. Because to get from 750 to 752, I just need to add 2. So 750 plus 2 equals 752. So that's how you solve some of those algebraic expressions. So go ahead and work on your practice for today and let me know if you have any questions.